the Wade Wilson fan club and people coming at you, not just questioning what Mila did, but what everybody did. It doesn't matter who it is. We could be talking about the guy that he went to over in the Keys. We could be talking about all the stops that he made along the way. Everybody was wrong, including Papa Steve, right? But at the end of the day, we have to look at who stepped up. And when the state asked them, hey, we need you to come in and testify, even though they weren't comfortable doing it, they came in and said, I'm going to do what's right for justice. And that's what's important here. And people, you can't overlook that, because they could have helped him. Mila, you could have helped him. When he asked you on that phone call, I need your help, you could have been a bad person and said, I'll get you a bus ticket, I'll harbor a fugitive, but that would have made you a criminal. And you didn't do that. With the love and support that you get, there comes these haters that are just want to find some fault in things that you did, want to find fault in your past. I don't look at that, because what I look at is what your actions are in the current day and age. In 2019, the actions that you took brings us fast forward to 2024 and a successful prosecution of a murderer, Wade Wilson, who told you on numerous occasions that he killed people, and you just were like, he's talking shit, he's just trying to be a tough guy. And
vehicle was
leaving the Buddha.
So you were stuck at the Buddha without your car.
And Amy was out there. She was watching it drive away as well. And she said, it's okay, come to my house. How
did you feel when Wade Wilson walked up to that sidebar? I saw you turned away from him, but what was that? I mean, were you like what is going on here?
For this as well. I told her specifically I refused to look at him, and I could feel in my peripheral and in my energy that he was trying to grab my attention. He was doing extra movements with his hand. When he would come up to the sidebar, he would tap on his leg. He was trying to get me to look at him. The one time that they even made me look in his direction and say, can you identify him and give me an item of clothing? I turned, I pointed, and I felt his eyes on me, but I did not even give him direct eye contact. And it just must have killed him. He was going nuts that I would not give him my attention.
It was so awesome. Has anybody seen a defendant come up when there's a victim? He brutally assaulted you. Wade Wilson basically threw you around like a rag doll, a 6'4", 200 and something pound big guy. And you are 100 pounds soaking wet or whatever. I've never seen that before. And let me know in the chat if you've ever seen a double murdered defendant unhandcuffed. He was probably shackled at the feet, but his hands were free.
He had a bar around him, a shock belt around him, right. And he's also complaining like a little bitch in his audio. He goes, this belt is giving my hernia problems. They go, well, Mr. Wilson, if it's giving you that many problems, then we're going to have to use the other alternative and handcuff you and shackle you. And he still agreed to do the shock belt.
Because he didn't want to be handcuffed. He wanted his hands free. And he was putting his hands in his pocket. His hands were out.
Roughly 6, my phone starts either texting or calling. Around 8:45, I start noticing and I start answering his phone calls.
So the first calls that he's making or text messages he's making, you don't receive those or talk to him at all?
I was sleeping.
When you
I love that. I love that you just snap right back. No, I was sleeping. I didn't hear his badger.
Well, another way that I could interject a little bit is people don't understand how many times I've been asked this freaking question. So sometimes if I come across a little bit like crude or like just matter of fact, it's like how I've answered this damn conversation how many times, and people were like, she sounds coerced, she sounds this. No, I've just had this conversation 500 times.
I think you testified very well. I've testified at hundreds of trials as a police officer. And then one of the very first times I testified, I was nervous myself. So getting up there, you did a great job, and so did everybody else. Papa Steve, I know he was really nervous. I talked to his wife about it, very nervous, and he did.
That he was going to have a heart attack, like he was not okay.
But you all did a great job, because the end result was a conviction, and you guys were instrumental in. And
that's another thing, if I can point out, people are like around this town specifically, they said she wanted her 15 minutes of fame. She did this. I was begging, crying not to testify about this. So none of this has to do with any kind of fame. And I still hear comments around even my personal town that is the case. So I just kind of wanted to put that out there as a little bit of FU.
The way he talked to you, Mila, it seems like this is across the board how he talks to women. And
I have
boyfriend.
A story about how this came about. Right before I went on and had to say this, they said, "What names was he calling you?" And I would say the names back in the witness room, or however it's called. And he goes, "You have to say those." And I go, "I can say them on stand." She said something so heartbreaking. She goes, "Diane Ruiz and Kristine Melton do not have a voice anymore. If you do not say these names, they can't. Nobody can imagine their last moments with him. If you're giving them a voice right now."
Exactly.
You need to say those names. You need to say it.
2 counts of first-degree murder, a count of burglary of the home of Fanny, and theft of an auto. That's your auto, Kristine.
That was Kristine's car.
Kristine Melton's. Right. I have it in parentheses. Grand theft of auto, Kristine Melton. My bad. Battery on you, Melissa Montanez. His girlfriend at the time, or petty theft, property of Fanny, taking stuff out of that house.
Did you feel scared at this point? Now
you're witnessing them walking up here. You had to have seen this happening right in front of your eyes.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Also, my husband and Amy were sitting in the the victim side, obviously. And when things got too, the energy, I would just focus on them, because like you said, nobody else have ever seen somebody of this magnitude be able to freaking approach a witness. Right. I was scared to death. I was.
Yeah. I was mortified when I saw this.
I'm going to show you State Exhibit 20, and I just ask if you look at it and tell me if you recognize that phone number.
That is my phone number.
Okay, and is that the phone number that he was calling you and texting you?
Yes.
And at this time, the state would move 20 into evidence.
This is where it happens, and they have a sidebar, and they go up, and you can see his hands are free and clear here. There's no the shackles on his legs, but here they go.
You approach.
Now, when you look at this, you'd think the defendant's going to sit at the table. They allowed him to go up here, like we're talking about, and this was mortifying. Like I see right away, you turn this way, you turn away from him, and you said you were focusing on your husband and Amy, right?
Up so much. I felt like I was going to pass out. I was trying everything that I could do to sell. It was so bad. I can't even describe to you.
Yeah, and for everybody, it's difficult to get up there and give testimony. You could hear it in your voice, but you found the strength from within, and this is part of this is a part of justice, and this is a part of your strength that you should be proud of. Not only were you a victim, but you came forward for justice.
And it was critical, and I told her too that we had a woman that reached out to me personally, gave me a book-long story, and said, "Can you please let Mila know that she saved my life? I literally picked my 2 kids up from an abusive situation and went into a shelter. And if it wasn't for her, I might not be here. And if she had the strength, I can do it too." And that's what's huge, is I want her to be able to do that for somebody else.
That is powerful.
Me that earlier, and it gave me chills, because also I told Coral that even watching things back, the more things I find out that I didn't even know, I should not be here. He even came to the spa. Had I chose to spend the night here, I would have been murdered. Had I gave him Amy's address, I should have been murdered. Had he not been a week from killing poor Kristine, I wouldn't be here because he was battle wounds and stuff. So for some reason, God has me here. I have to make a difference. I have to.
And I feel that you really have. That brings me to my next point of what I want to say here is that just talking about Mila's experience, I'm not discounting other women because we know there's many other women that Wade Wilson victimized and was brutal with and assaulted and so forth. But we are talking about what Mila's experience is here tonight. Just speaking about that, you can touch just one person or more, then it's a win because you're helping other people through your situation that you had with Wade Wilson. And that's a positive thing. And you can't put a price tag on that because saving a human life is powerful.